This episode is a film review of The Torch, a continuing blues legacy. This is Reno Lovison, executive producer at ChicagoBroadcastingNetwork.com. If you're not already a fan of Chicago blues legend Buddy Guy, you're very likely to become one after seeing The Torch, a new documentary directed by Jim Farrell, distributed by IFC Films, and having its world premiere as the closing night presentation at the 55th Annual Chicago International Film Festival. The nearly 2-hour documentary demonstrates Buddy Guy's devotion to paying homage to those who preceded him, such as blues greats like Muddy Waters and Howlin' Wolf, as well as his passion for encouraging new talent, specifically young guitarist Quinn Sullivan, who Buddy discovered in 2007 when the boy was only 7 years old. It might be said that Buddy Guy is something of a late bloomer, having won 8 Grammy Awards after the age of 55. But truth is, those rewards were late coming, due in part to the short-sightedness of Chicago's Chess Records, who didn't fully understand or appreciate who they had in their midst. Born in Louisiana, where he grew up picking cotton and playing music on a homemade instrument, at some point he got a real guitar, and eventually was good enough to set off for Chicago. Ill-prepared for the cold weather and with basically no money, the nearly starving musician finally caught a break that led to appearances at various clubs around town. Working as a tow truck mechanic, while periodically sitting in as a session guitarist on a few records, Guy first began to gain well-deserved notoriety with the British invasion of the late 1960s, after groups like the Rolling Stones made a pilgrimage to Chicago to see the great blues musicians whose recordings they had listened to and whose sound they revered. World-renowned rock and roll guitarists like Eric Clapton, Jimi Hendrix, Jeff Beck, and Carlos Santana have all been inspired and influenced by Buddy Guy. Guitar prodigy Quinn Sullivan, a native of New Bedford, Massachusetts, is given nearly equal time in this documentary as Guy's protege and some say heir apparent. In 2008, just 1 year after the two met, Sullivan, not even 9 years old, performed a featured solo on the cut Who's Gonna Fill Those Shoes in Guy's Grammy-nominated album Skin Deep. Since then, the young man has traveled the world, playing concerts with his mentors, sharing licks, and getting valuable life lessons. One bandmate describes Quinn as an old soul. You can see that there's a genuine rapport between the two virtuosos. At 83, Guy does not talk down to the younger Sullivan, nearly 70 years his junior, but rather treats him like a fellow professional. He expects much from the young musician, who never fails to deliver. So therein lies the title of this film, The Torch, demonstrating Buddy's love for those who mentored him, including the promise he made to keep the blues alive, and doing so by actively passing it on to the next generation. Be sure to look for the post page of this episode at ChicagoBroadcastingNetwork.com, where you can find links to performances with Buddy Guy and Quinn Sullivan. If you're interested in making music of your own, check out the Lakeshore Music Studio, located in Chicago's Gold Coast and specializing in piano lessons for all ages. If you need video production for your company or organization, visit renoweb.net. If you're a fan of Chicago blues or just want to learn more, look for one of our previous podcasts called Recalling Blues Legends, featuring an interview conducted by Chicago-based journalist Brett Stewart with Blues Authority and author Bill Dahl, right here at ChicagoBroadcastingNetwork.com. Be sure to subscribe to our website and or podcast to be alerted when new content is added. Also, take the time to listen to our other podcasts or views of some of our other videos related to the Chicago International Film Festival. If you missed the festival, many of the films talked about and reviewed will be offered on wider release online at Netflix, PBS, via Roku, or at a local movie theater near you. This is Reno Lovison, executive producer at ChicagoBroadcastingNetwork.com.